Hello again, YouTube family. Thanks for joining me on this video. This video again is dealing with Tucker Carlson and Tucker's World. In this video he's talking about change, oddly. And let's dig into the video.
Tonight, things are changing fast, in case you haven't noticed, much too fast, actually. People can't metabolize change at this pace. That's not just Fox News viewers or elderly Republican men, it's this whole species. Human beings are not designed for relentless, abrupt changes to the way they live or the way they think. And for most of human history, they didn't have to deal with those changes because they didn't happen much. Societies evolved slowly. 4th century France was very much like 14th century France. For 1,000 years, most people in France spend their lives following domesticated animals around the field and living in thatched huts. And then in the 1700s, someone perfected the steam engine and nothing was ever the same. Life for average people began to change faster and faster, and then exponentially faster. And this continued on. It continues now to the present day, a moment in which nearly every morning you awake to a brand new world. If you're over 40, you may have trouble recognizing your own country. It's just too unfamiliar. Now, the self-righteous children on social media don't care to notice this, and when they do, they dismiss it, any complaint about change, as bigotry. But it's not bigotry. It's human nature. Abrupt change causes social chaos.
Okay, so in the first video, Tucker Carlson is talking about change awful dramatically. Every day you wake up to a brand new world. I don't know what world he lives in, but I don't wake up to a brand new world every day. It seems like I'm doing the same thing day after day. There's not that much changing. I go to work, come home. Go to work, come home. If you are over 40, you may have trouble recognizing your own country. I'm over 40. I have no trouble recognizing my own country. He's saying things that on their face don't make sense. Self-righteous children on social media don't care to notice the change. They call you a bigot for noticing the change. No, people on social media most likely will call you a bigot for saying something that's bigoted, not for saying that something changed. Abrupt change causes chaos. Well, I guess it depends on the kind of change, how abrupt it is, whether it will cause chaos or not. Change happens. Change has been happening constantly. He talked about from the 4th century to the 14th century, nothing changed in France. That is a completely ahistoric view of France. Historians, people who live in France, who have studied their own national history, I'm sure would have a lot to say to Tucker claiming that 4th century France and 14th century France were the same. They were by all means not. And I mean, the country went through revolutions in that time period. And as far as saying that you wake up every day to a brand new world, that's not true. I mean, he's pandering to a group of people, and so for those of us who are just normies, a lot of what he's saying will not make much sense. But here's the second video.
Exactly what our leaders are currently doing. They're changing everything, whether we like it or not. A new language, new values, new biology, new curricula, new social mores and hiring standards and body types. A brand new national population. And then, because that's still not enough change, a whole new system of government.
Okay, and so with the second video, I'll try and break down what he's talking about. Some of these things I don't know why he's saying them. Our leaders are trying to change everything. New language. There, I assume he's talking about the Hispanics that are entering the United States, and that Spanish is a requirement in a lot of jobs, a lot of places in the country. New values. New values, I don't know if he's talking about the abortion fight. I don't know if he's talking about LGBTQ area there. New biology. Sounds particularly like LGBTQ stuff. New curriculum. No, we're not really adding that much curriculum. I mean, you have a bill in, I believe it's Arkansas, to try and teach creationism as science. That's absurd. That would be new curriculum because it has no place in public schools being taught as a known science. New social mores and hiring practices. I don't know what he thinks is new in hiring, unless he's saying that there are some people that are going to force you to hire a woman or to hire a minority. That's not new. New body types. That certainly is the LGBTQ fight, the trans fight. A brand new national population. And a whole new system of government. There is no new system of government. We have the same system of government we've had since the beginning. America is a democratic republic. To make sure everybody understands, the republic part, which a lot of people point to, like when Hillary Clinton won the popular vote but lost the election. And a lot of the smug right-wing people were like, oh, we're a republic, because they don't know what a republic is. A republic, all that is saying is that we are not a monarchy. America is not a monarchy. That's what republic means. And we are a democratic republic because we are supposed to have democratically elected representatives that represent us in government. Locally and federally. You know, with the president, that's the only non-direct democratically elected representative is the president. The president is chosen by the Electoral College. The Electoral College is supposed to be based on the popular vote. And as we've seen in recent elections, you can have someone win the popular vote massively, but still manage to lose the election because they won particular states that gave them an Electoral College victory. And that has nothing to do with republic. That has to do with the fact that we have this antiquated Electoral College system that was put in place because at the outset of this country we had a massively unintelligent, not well-informed country, and the people who were crafting this country and our laws thought maybe it's not the best idea to give them the ability to directly elect people, the president. Maybe we need to have someone who is older, more intelligent, a landowner, who has more of a interest in America, making the decision to choose a president. That's why we have that system. But as far as a whole new system of government, I'm assuming Tucker Carlson here is dog whistling to the right-wing nuts that believe Joe Biden is a socialist. Joe Biden is about as far away from a socialist as you can be. But just like people were saying leading up in the Democrat primary, the big thing you heard on the Democrat-leaning news media channels, the MSNBCs and things, was we can't have Bernie Sanders be our representative because then the Republicans will attack him for being a socialist. But the thing is, they're going to attack whoever the Democrat is as a socialist. It didn't matter if Bernie Sanders was on the ticket. Socialist, communist, those words were going to be thrown at whoever it was. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, or Amy Klobuchar, whoever. Whoever won, They were going to be called a socialist, a communist, all these other things. With the whole new system of government, that's Tucker Carlson claiming that the Democrats are changing this country to a socialist country, which is not true. The brand new national population is definitely a direct reference to immigrants from our southern border, which is not giving us a brand new population. I mean, we have some degree of illegal immigration every year, and recently it's been down a bit because of coronavirus around the world. But we have people from various countries that come here. Majority of the illegal immigrants in this country, they're visa overstays. They're people who came here legally on a visa, tourist visa, student visa, whatever, and just didn't leave. Overstayed their visa, didn't reapply for anything, and are just living off the grid in America. Some are illegal immigrants from Mexico or Central or South American countries. But right now, the biggest issue we have to deal with on the southern border is the migrants who are coming here seeking asylum, because in addition to our manipulation of their countries, throwing their governments in flux, so many of their governments being harsh dictatorships, the poverty, the drugs, the cartels, the gangs, a lot of things in those countries causing people to come here. One of the biggest is our cutting off of aid to people in those countries, which was the one lifeline of hope they had, was the aid coming from America that they're just not getting anymore. Some of them are still getting it, just in much smaller amounts, and left them with no choice really but to try and come here. Tucker Carlson is ranting about change because the old people who watch Fox News, that's what they rant about. They rant about all of the horrible things about modern America, the modern kids, just like you look back 30 years and the old people then were complaining about the change, the kids, all the goofy things they were doing. And it's not changing. That's something that's been going on. People will complain about change. Change happens way too slowly, and that's my perspective. I'm in my 40s. I'm not confused about whether this is America or not. Change happens slowly. It happens too slowly, and eventually, though, you do get change. You don't get change without action. Civil action causes civil change. That's what we're seeing more of now, are more people getting active. There are more people organizing. There are more people joining the organizations that are being organized. And hopefully we will get more radical, faster change. Maybe it'll spin Tucker Carlson's head around. I really doubt it, because I don't believe Tucker Carlson buys a word of what he's saying. He's a privileged puke from a very wealthy, privileged family. He spent his life in expensive private schools, getting fancy degrees while calling other people elite. Tucker Carlson is an heir to the Swanson frozen food fortune. Tucker Carlson was rich before he was making millions of dollars to go on TV and push right-wing propaganda. Tucker Carlson is as elite people can be. He's wealthy, he has old family wealth, and he's making lots of money playing this role on TV. Tucker Carlson is a shill. And I don't know why exactly he does it. I don't know if he wanted to be in Hollywood, but it didn't quite work out, so he's on Fox News. But Tucker Carlson's career has spanned CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, constantly trying to achieve a higher position. And Tucker Carlson has done well at Fox News because he does this. He panders to the most right-wing, the most racist, bigoted part of the Republican base. I don't know myself if that part is 10% or 70% of the base. But that's what he does. He's angled his show to be the purveyor of the far right on Fox News. He is, I would say, right of Sean Hannity at this point, right of Laura Ingraham. I mean, Sean Hannity has become pathetic at this point. Laura Ingraham has always been pathetic. And Judge Jeanine Shapiro, she seems like a boozy former judge who's stuck with a show on Fox News. I'm sure she's making plenty of money, living a perfectly nice life. But Tucker Carlson has eclipsed them because he has focused in on a specific subset of this Republican base. It looks like the broader Republican base will listen to his show and buy his BS. But there is a certain base he is certainly dog whistling and pandering to, constantly with stuff like this. His tirade on change, which this massive change he's claiming isn't happening. And what change is happening, it's happening very slowly. And Tucker Carlson's making it like things are changing completely 100% overnight. And the thing is, it takes years and years for things to change. You look at when Tucker Carlson was a 5-year-old boy to what things are now, I'm sure there's plenty of changes you can point to. But that's over the course of a life. And no, things aren't changing crazy, things aren't changing rapidly, we're not a socialist country, and we don't have the Hispanics coming across our southern border, changing our demographics drastically. Eventually they will change. Eventually the demographics will change. There will be a larger percentage of people who are either black or mixed race in this country. There will be a larger percentage of Hispanic, the Hispanic population, plus the mixed black and Hispanic or white and Hispanic, whatever. I mean, the demographics are going to change. And people's perspectives will change because it will be part of their life. Someone who's has a Hispanic mother and a black father, or a white father and a Hispanic mother, or a black mother and a white father, whatever. I mean, it's going to change. The demographics are changing over time. People's biases and prejudices are changing to where you have more mixed race families, more intermingling, and there is more immigration from the southern border because of our meddling in the affairs of Central and South America. And so the demographics will change. Right now we're getting to a point where it's changed quite a bit. In some areas, you may have an area that is mostly Hispanic now, that used to not be. But that's not some massive difference. I mean, you had areas before that were mostly just white, mutt, Protestant American that had an influx of, say, Catholics from Ireland that came in years and years ago during, say, the potato famine. And you have an area that went from being mostly Protestant American to Irish Catholic, where all of a sudden, the population was like half Protestant American and half Catholic Irish immigrant. And even though you had a population that was white, you had people who were in that American Protestant population that were suspicious of these immigrants because they were the other. Even though they were white, they were different, and so they didn't trust them. They had issues with them. There were issues socially, but they got over it. Either that or they moved. Same thing's happening right now. You have areas that larger percentage of Hispanics are moving into an area, so white people start moving out for whatever reason. Prejudice, job changes, business changes in the area, whatever. Or it may be just as simple as prejudice. But that happens, and it's going to keep happening. And there's nothing wrong with it because it's normal. Tucker Carlson is playing up to his ridiculous base here, and that's fine. If they want to stay willingly ignorant, that's their choice. I wish they would choose to get their news some other way, but they don't. Anyway, no alarms. The change isn't happening overnight. Don't worry, you're not going to wake up to a completely different America tomorrow. It's not going to be purple instead of red, white, and blue. And we are not a socialist country. We're not about to name Joe Biden dictator or anything. But thanks for watching. Please give me a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for watching. Have a good day.